Inter Miami has lost to Nashville SC 2-1 in Game 2 of the first round of the MLS Cup Playoffs. And now Inter Miami is positioned to be in a similar situation as they were last year when they ended up getting bounced in the first round by Atlanta United in the 2024 MLS Cup Playoffs first round. And if you're an Inter Miami fan after watching tonight, I'm not a fan of any team. I just watched the game. I cover the league. But you can't watch this game and not have some serious concerns about what you saw tonight from Inter Miami. And even if they're able to get by Nashville SC in the first round of the playoffs, there's a lot of trouble that could be coming their way if they want to advance further down into the MLS Cup playoffs. So let's start off the first half. The first half, it's a wet, rainy game. Nashville, very windy. I thought that would be a little bit of a bad matchup or not play into Inter Miami's favor because when the field is wet, the ball is going to move faster. Nashville SC doesn't have a lot of speedsters, so the ball would have to be almost perfect to really do anything in the final third, and that's what I thought was going to happen. But there was just nobody in this first half that was worth a damn. Like, nobody was very good for Inter Miami in the first half. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our goal is to hit 12,000 subscribers by MLS Cup Final Day, which is less than 2 months away. A lot of exciting playoff games ahead of us, and we have real momentum, so I think we could hit that goal. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Now, back to the video. Messi was the only player that I even noticed in the first half. Honest to God, he's the only player I noticed. Luis Suárez didn't do anything. He was unnoticeable for 20 minutes. Baltasar Rodriguez did nothing for the entire first half. So many ghosts on the pitch in the first half. You would have thought today was Halloween, not yesterday, by the way these guys were playing. So that's a huge concern. I've been saying this. Anyone who watches Miami's been saying this. You can't depend on Messi for everything because if he has a bad game, then Miami normally lose. They have to have someone who steps up and starts to put work in, not necessarily take the game over, but be able to score, be productive in the final third, create chances. No one's doing that. Tadio Allende had a perfect chance in this game in the first half across, and he should have scored that with ease, and he went wide right. There's just nobody. Ian Frey, bad crosses. Maxi Falcone, so-so. Noah Allen, abysmal in the first half. He's really regressed since the beginning of the season. Jordi Alba, not much for him either. Literally, the only player that I noticed in the first half that did anything was Messi. And Nashville SC clamped him down, clogged the middle, forced him to try to get the ball out wide. And the wingers that they have playing right now, Luis Suárez, La Tortuga, slowest guy in the league, slowest guy in MLS history probably. They just don't have what it takes in the final third to be able to make this attack dynamic. Like, and there's a lot of questions I had about Javier Mascherano with their starting 11. Like, why wasn't Matteo Salvetti starting? You know, he had a great U20 World Cup for Argentina. It looked like he was ascending, and he's not starting still for this team, even though when he plays, he's been very good, and he just had a great run with his national team. He's on the bench rotting, 19 years old, all the potential that you would want, not playing, which is very, very questionable, especially with Allende being as bad as what he has. And I also want to point out that Allende, if he was remotely a decent player with the chances he's had in 2025, the guy would have probably 20-plus goals. So that's a negative and a bright spot if you're an Inter Miami fan, because now you know that if there's anybody that's even has a pulse next season taking Allende's spot, that they will probably score 15 to 20 goals. So that's the positive. Also, the negative is he still plays for your team. And Rodrigo de Paul, I want to mention him too. There was a lot of controversy with Rodrigo de Paul. His girlfriend, wife is a Argentine pop star. I'm not familiar with her. I don't know any of her music, but I do know that she's apparently a pop star. He had flown down to Argentina to watch her perform and missed the training session. Flew back the next day to be back in time for the game. Laid an absolute dud today. Wasn't very good. So, yeah, I guess it was an issue. At first, I didn't care. I was like, well, if he plays, doesn't matter. He played terribly. It does matter. He shouldn't have left. That looks really, really bad now. And I want to mention Nashville SC, just they were frustrating Inter Miami. They got the penalty in the ninth minute where Sam Surridge scored, which was clearly a penalty. I don't think there was any question about it. But from that point forward, it just felt like they dominated this game. Like the attack looked so much more crisp. It felt like they made the most of their possessions. And Inter Miami, they just made Inter Miami look lost. They had 6 shots and 4 on target in the first half. Nashville SC did. Inter Miami only had 4 shots, 0 on target in the first half. Nashville SC was just smoking Inter Miami in that first half. And then on the cross or the corner, Bauer was able to score a goal from poor marking from Ian Frey inside the box. He was able to score to go up 2-0 in the second half, or at the end of the first half. At that point, I knew the game was probably over because Nashville SC had never looked this good, in my opinion, against Inter Miami or frustrated them like this. So they were a team on a mission, and they went in with a comfortable lead. Another thing I want to point out too is Hani Mukhtar looked really good. This is one of the better games I've seen Hani Mukhtar have in a while. It's definitely the best game I've seen him play against Nashville. I've seen the last 3 matches. That was a difference maker too. He had that first goal that Sam Surridge had when he got fouled inside the box. It was a perfect pass. Now, some people think that might have been offside, but I think it was close. But I thought Hani Mukhtar had a really, really solid game, and so did Joe Willis. Also, Rocco Rios Novo, if it wasn't for him, this game could have been even uglier. Like, I think that he had 2 key saves in the first half that it weren't for him. If it was Ustari, they'd probably be down maybe even 3-4-0 at the half. So going to the second half, most people were like, okay, they need to make substitutions. Inter Miami, they need to take out, Allende, Rodriguez, maybe even bring Yannick Bright in for Busquets or DePaul. The only substitution they make is they take Noah Allen out, they put Busquets at center back, and they move Velasco Segovia in the midfield. It really didn't do anything. Very, very stale in the midfield. Wasn't doing anything. And there was no urgency whatsoever with this team. No urgency whatsoever. No dynamic plays from this attack. It just looked very stale still. So that made no difference. And then in the 54th minute, they took out Baltasar Rodriguez. They brought in Matteo Savetti and made a little bit of a difference. Nothing too crazy, but it's like, why didn't he make these subs at halftime? Why did he wait 9 minutes into the second half before he made any substitutions? It's just another thing about Javier Mascherano that makes me question his tactics, which I've been questioning all year, but I just don't think he's a very good manager. I think he's really bad, and his job is on the line if they don't win this. But that didn't make any difference. The attack still struggled. And then there was a missed penalty call on Velasco Segovia, fouling Sam Surridge, in my opinion, in the box. That should have 100% been a penalty, in my opinion. So that would have been a chance for Nashville SC to be up 3-0. And then inside on the other side, in Inter Miami's box, Luis Suárez, when he was making a run, kicked his heel back and hit Andy Nahar in the knee, and it was a no call. I think that should have at least been a yellow. Some people might think a red. So there was a lot of finicky, weird, bad calling by the referees in the second half. But even with that being said, Nashville SC still had several chances where they could have put this game away that they failed to do. So regardless of those missed calls by the refs, there were still a couple of things that Nashville SC needed to clean up and need to try to do a better job to put some of these games away. Messi was able to score in the 90th minute to put Inter Miami back on the board. It was a beautiful free kick, absolutely beautiful, clinical, not free kick, but a beautiful kick. He went left, he cut left, and scored an absolute golazo. Beautiful to put them down by 1 goal, cut the deficit to 2-1. And then there was 6 minutes of added time. I really thought that Inter Miami had a chance. The momentum was swinging in their direction. I thought they had a chance, and they had a couple opportunities. Jordi Alba had a nice cross to Matteo Savetti, wasn't able to finish that. Nashville SC started looking a little bit gassed. Surridge and had been subbed out. Taxet had been subbed out. But I thought Miami was starting to maybe end up tying this game before the end, before regulation. But Nashville SC was able to close it out, get the 2-1 win, and that was huge for them. That was a big deal for that was a huge deal for Nashville SC to come away with this win, so that way it doesn't end the series. Now this is going to go to a game 3, winner take all. Whoever wins this Inter Miami Nashville SC game is going to win the series. And like I mentioned earlier, Inter Miami won or lost the first round against Atlanta United in 2024. They won the first game, lost the last 2 games to Atlanta United. And I don't want to say history's repeating itself, but if you're an Inter Miami fan, you have to be a little bit nervous because now you have to go back to Miami like you did last time, and it's a winner take all. You lose this game, you're out of the playoffs. You win, you go to the quarterfinals, and you play the winner of New York City FC and Charlotte FC. Or excuse me, you play the winner of FC Cincinnati and Columbus Crew. So the next game is going to be next Saturday. They have a week off to prepare. It's going to be in Miami. We'll see what happens. But this is a bad showing by Inter Miami. No one, if you're a fan of Inter Miami, there's no way you can be happy with this. It shows the deficiencies of the team. It's Messi or bust. Players around him need to step up or they're not going to win anything. And bravo to Nashville SC for having a great performance. First win against Inter Miami in the Messi era. They had been 0-6-3 prior to this game. They get their first win in a much needed time, and they will play for a game 3 to see who advances to play Cincinnati or the Columbus Crew. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, let me know, what was Miami's biggest issue in this game? How concerned are you about Miami moving forward? And what did you think about Nashville SC's performance? Were you surprised? Were you expecting that? Let me know down below. Hope you all have a great night. And until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.